I don't know what just happened there. Denver Broncos, Mile High View. No commercials, no bullshit. The most hated Bronco channel that does not get taken down. Don't worry, folks. I got a leash on him. I won't let him go off. I'll keep my dog, I got a leash on him. Colby's just so happy to be YouTubing it away today. Aren't you?
Fuck YouTube.
Hey, he's got an epic rant, and actually it is a good rant. I'll give him that. The rant is good. And it makes, honestly, they had to take it down because it makes Dove Valley look like a bunch of, makes them look what they are, incompetent. So, you, what do you think about that Schobert firing? Can you do it in 30 words or less?
Can I do it in 30 words or less? So let's hear your perspective on it, and then I'll go because I got a lot to say about that whole thing.
Okay. I'm not mad at Schobert at all. I'm not mad at him. He didn't hire himself. I always say this all the time. He didn't hire himself. He didn't walk into Dove Valley and say, "You're going to make me play." The Schobert is a direct expression of the failed Baron Browning move. Again, carts in front of horses, not thinking. You had a real good situation Fangio put you in with Kenny Young. Baron Browning, your middle was taken care of at you at Dove Valley. You just can't help yourself. It's put people out of positions, put plugs into holes in the dam and bring in has-beens. And it's been 6 years. It's not Hackett. It's not Fangio. It's not Vance Joseph. It's not George Payton. There's only one guy. There's only one thread in there. One thread, and it's just the same thing for 6 years. And when that thread gets taken out, and it will, because spin, BS, media hype, it'll only take you so far, and then it backfires when you, like I said, you can promise the outer galaxy all you want, but when you can't hit the treetops, so. I mean, you said you did film, and I mean, Dove Valley could have looked at the film too, but they're into has-beens and yesterdays and used to be's. I was just talking to my bud, Saints fan, and he's like, Juwan J, you're paying Juwan J. I said, yeah, I know, we know. You know what? I actually think, here's one. I want to put this on you. Tell me what you think. I think before they let Schobert go, they should have gave him like a $50 million contract, just so he'd have to pay that for the next 4 years. That'd be just about right, I think.
Yeah, it would be.
That's what I would have been. I mean, if I got angry and was going to yell at the camera and everything, I would have said you should have gave Joe Schobert $50 million. You just should have just strapped us for another 4 years. I just didn't understand why they didn't do that. That mean they're so used to doing that. So, I'm just accustomed to that kind of a thing. So basically, the Schobert is an expression of the failed Baron Browning. It's just, what do you want? You watch film. You already did a thing on this, and
I already did a thing on this, and it got taken down for harassment and bullying.
Oh, YouTube, but it's on BitChute, so
on them too. And I was talking about the correlation of the Vic Fangio and the failed Baron Browning experiment that has been a anomaly since this whole entire 7 years has been a shit show. It's a shit show. Okay, it's an epic clusterfuck of epic clusterfucks.
It will continue to be that too. It'll continue to be a foobar, fucked up beyond any repair.
Well, it's just hilarious because this guy didn't even last a week, and just because we got our tails handed to us and we got our asses beat in by the Buffalo Bills second and third string, that now you guys figure out on August 23rd, 2022, a week after you sign him, he sucks. I don't understand. And you know what?
Well, wait a minute. Let's stop right there. Does he suck? What about the other guys out there? Do you see Josie Julie? Is that a major? Are we that far from Schobert? Singleton? Are we that far from keep going. Just go right down the list.
Well, like I said,
are we that far from that guy that they got rid of?
Yeah, before
on the first string. Let's just go right to the first string. Is the canyon really that far between Schobert and their starter?
No.
Starters.
No.
No.
No. I mean, I didn't run when my Then 2 channel got taken down for harassment and bullying. I said that, and I quote, that you really think that when Jonas Griffith comes back, he's going to look just superior next to Josie Jewell or Alex Singleton? I mean, I also brought up the whole Josie Jewell and Alexander Johnson nonsense in that, how that correlates to this too. And you know what's hilarious to me is I brought up the Kenny Young, Baron Browning, and Jonas Griffith. You had three guys, and you had the top guy, which was Kenny Young, who was developing those players game by game. They were developing, they were forming into their own players. And then what did you do? You decided to try and tell us who were, you like, yes, you finally got the middle short up. You were, Elway, you just wanted to show us, just like you've done with everything else. You wanted to put Surtain in the slot. You want to put Justin Tony Lily Simmons. He's overrated. But Justin Hollins, you want to put him in the middle. And then you want to go out and get has-beens like Jarrell Casey, Adam Pac-Man Jones, Menelik Watson, who proposed
James.
I'm getting there. Donald Stevenson, Jawan James. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And then you get these, Nick Burrito, these draft picks. Carlos Henderson. Does that ring?
How's that draft class going so far? How's that working out so far?
It looks like a big old clusterfuck.
How about this? It looks like it wasn't a very good draft. How about that?
Looks like the players that me and you wanted are actually making a difference on their teams, like Travis Jones, Cam Jurgens, Jordan Davis, Charles Cross, Evan Neal. I mean, that's what gets – you know what? And hold on, I just want to say this before you roll, and I know that you don't want me to spend too much time on this, but as a film junkie, the problem I've had, and I'm not afraid to admit it, is I focus too much on these toxic-ass fans. And you know what?
Let's make a disclaimer here. Let's just make a disclaimer here real quick. Not every fan out there is where they're oiling themselves up, going online and spending hours talking about they're the number one fan. Okay, there's a group online.
Yep.
Don't say that they're everybody. That's everybody. That's a certain clique. And as this thing starts to stink more and more, nobody's going to want to listen to that. It's going to get old real fast.
Yep.
I just want to say, I want to talk about your frustration. That's what I want to talk about, is your frustration. And everybody's frustration that doesn't get taken down. I mean, everybody is equally as frustrated as this man right here. A lot of people are. It's like his frustration. I'm just saying it from an observer and somebody who is equally frustrated. It's like watching the child touch the stove over and over and over and over again. And you get to a point where you start losing your mind. Because how many times do you tell the child not to touch the stove? It's like watching a train heading down the tracks and the bridge is out. You can't do anything about it. It's just frustrating. It's just really frustrating. For 6 years, okay, this just doesn't end. It doesn't end. And it's just, I guess you can look at it two ways, I guess. From a fan point of view, you have fans that, I didn't hear it, I didn't see it, I won't speak nothing, never tell a soul what you know is the truth. Tommy, the Who. A rock opera, back in the days dinosaurs roamed the earth. Okay, and then there's the other mindset there where we just like, God, again, here we go again, you morons, So we're in that we're in that phase right now. And I just lost you, buddy.
Keep going.
We're in that phase right now where we've seen it with other teams. We've seen it with other teams, and we're just in that phase. I know they all think that yet another quarterback is going to make a difference of years worth of mismanagement that was on full-on display last game. But we know that next week isn't going to be what we saw. We understand that. We never said that every week in and week out is going to be a butt whooping. But what we saw on that Saturday with the Bills is going to manifest itself throughout the year. Again, it's mathematics. It is what it is. So with that said, I was going to go into this Minnesota pregame. But go ahead. What else? What else you got?
No, that's pretty much it. As a fan myself, and as a guy who's a film whore and film junkie, I do go off the ledge a little bit on losing my shit because
a little bit.
I know, right? Yeah, I overreact, I guess, but
he's overreacting.
Overreact.
Well, I guess the way I see it, some of these what the media is trying to say is you got to have your head chopped off and or just directly into the sand and just ignore that what you just saw happen. I get that's the other extreme.
I'm not here to give you guys bullshit, okay? I would have put that out there right here, right now. I'm not that. If I was bullshitting you guys, this guy wouldn't be having me on this channel. I mean, I look at things very differently than most people, and they're just like, what? Like they don't know what their left nut to their right nut is, and they live on planet Neptune. I mean, it's just we live.
You got people that they don't want. Okay, I got thinking about this last week, and this is something I thought. You have to take this in just understanding, the way things are. There's people that, they want to see the clock. They just want to read the time. They don't care about how the clock ticks. They don't care about the gears. They don't care about, all they care about is look. And then if you try to force people to, you can't just look at the time. You get your head over here and take a look at these gears. See how they mesh together. Do you not understand? It just, you can't, there's a disconnect. It takes a film junkie to really understand a film junkie. I'm not even sure if look at Dove Valley. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Are there people at Dove Valley who are frustrated too but can't say anything?
I think so, but again, that I think that's very few and far between. I don't think we're sitting here saying, "Oh my goodness, all the scouts and all the people in that organization is just frustrated and they can't say their piece." No, I think there's some people that actually go along with the Kool-Aid drinking because
of course there are. Well, yes, of course there are.
When you sit here and tell me the same thing for the past 6 years, you're going to believe that. And that's how psychological warfare happens. It doesn't just happen here as a football fan. It happens across the world. Me and you've been mentioning that time and time again. When you tell us the same thing over and over again, our mind is eventually going to get used to what you're saying, and then we're going to believe you. That's how psychological warfare works. When you're sitting there watching the TV and watching the news, and you're just taking all that in, all that bullshit.
Well, yeah, that's because goes back a long time. Of the very first time with television, it shuts the mind off. It shuts shuts the critical thinking, and then goes into subjective. You go into suggestive mode.
There's no common sense or critical thinking anymore. It's not just here, but there's none of that anymore.
Well, that's probably one of the things too, is that I actually go into watching something and more objectively, and it seems like when I don't just pop the popcorn most of the time with the wife, it's a little different. But I look at things a little bit more objective, a little kind of standing back and not getting absorbed by it.
And me and you both need to work on not focusing our energy on the fans, because once me and you are feared when we talk about this stuff that no one wants to hear. So me and you, and including myself, we need to focus on, hey, what we do best. We do best at film. We do best at all this stuff. And I promise you, you're going to see, we're not going to focus on these fans anymore. We're going to do our own thing. That's why we're the most feared Broncos channel out there, is because we're unique and we actually hold this organization accountable, and we don't need it. Like we said, we don't need to say, wow, we have these signs. We don't need to say, wow, we're the best fan in the world. You know,
Well,
we don't here.
what's going on is that there's an entity out there that just what they do, and then and they have every right to do it.
Yeah.
They oil themselves up. They got channels. They oil them. We use particularly one channel, but they oil themselves up. They spoon with each other, and they talk about, they're the best fans. Nobody can possibly be a better fan than them. And that,
Yep.
If that's what they're into, if that's their, but we're not. If you go to the splash page of Mile High View, you will see with the first thing we say, this is not a fan channel. This is a GM centric channel. So
Yep.
I don't, I was speaking to you. I don't want to get sucked in, and then you were speaking to me. We need not get sucked in.
Yes. Yep.
And into this fan thing,
because we're better. We're better than that. And we're
they're good at what they do, and that's smearing oil all over themselves. And
but we're better at what we do. We have a different.
Well, they don't do what we do. That's what I'm trying to explain.
Well, that's what I'm trying to explain here. Our mind level's so up here, they think we live on planet Neptune.
You turn the light switch on, you can't explain the nuclear power plant that's behind it. That's right. You just turn the lights, they come on. That's all you need to know.
What
else do I need to know? Well, from a lot of people, that's all they need to know. They turn the lights on, turns on. Okay.
Wow, how did that power surge happen?
Yeah, and we got light, but that's, and I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. It would be bigger to us to not hate them, because it let them do what they want to do,
and we'll be right again this year.
Well, they don't care. They just I know. Just Dove Valley. What is it? Oh, 3 to 5 Super Bowls. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Let's get into this Vikings game. Let's. You started off.
Well, I just watched the first half. You've already watched it, I think, 3 or 4 times, but I've watched it pretty much half asleep. But it didn't take. It didn't take much to figure out that their defensive line, their second string defensive line, is a force to be reckoned with. That's going to be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive line, well, like Buffalo. I mean, but that was the Colts.
Oh, no.
That was the Colts playing Buffalo. This was San Fran playing the Vikings. Minnesota offensive line. So their offensive line had their hands full. That's why I'm trying to make the correlation.
Okay.
Making the correlation. So anyway, hold on.
We definitely get paid for this.
I thought she was still at practice, but so anyway, I apologize for that.
I try to keep this PG.
So anyway, I don't know, are the Broncos going to be able to establish the run? Probably not. Will the Broncos be able to defend the run? That's going to be interesting, because neither the Minnesota Vikings or San Francisco, neither one could get the run going to save their life. So I would say that the run is going to suffer again in this game. The offensive line is going to be interesting. I thought they held up surprisingly well, but nothing to write home about now. Nothing to write home about with the Bills. But you said you saw a guy 76 there, just busting holes in the San Fran offensive line. So why don't you talk about that?
So number 76, Ty McGill. He's 29 years old, so he's been around the league. He's been a journeyman. I think he finally found a home in Minnesota. I mean, he fits that 3-tech, 3-4 defense. He really applies that pressure up the middle, that initial push up the middle. Because I was telling you that whole time, I'm like, just keep your eye on 76, keep your eye on this defensive line. And as you got into the second quarter, you saw that defensive line starting to get their legs under them and starting to get that groove and start. Even Ty McGill, dude, that guy is a guy that Graham Glasgow and Quinn Bailey are going to have their hands full in that game. That guy is an absolute stud. I like him. I mean, he's nothing to write home about. He's a journeyman, but he's a guy that is a very good rotational depth piece for you. But you know what? We can't have second strings or third strings on this team because they don't matter, and we don't have to care about our depth. If our starters are on the field, it's a completely different story. So 76 is a guy I think we should keep an eye on in this game. I think he's gonna. And he's had 4 sacks this preseason, but I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at that initial pressure rate up the middle because that's getting that quarterback off his spot that we saw against the 49ers.
Yeah, so obviously I don't believe that this isn't one of these, take it up the what and kind of games, but you got guys fighting for roster spots. So I mean this is a game that everybody's fighting for roster spots.
I agree with that. I agree with that, but I'm not. But
this is a game for you. This is really a game built for you.
I like this type of stuff. I break this team apart. I go down to the 80th man on the roster and I look at their skill set. I watch everything that they do. I don't just watch the second string and be like, yep, I formulate my opinion off of that. I don't do that. And drink the Kool-Aid and oil myself up. Yeah. I really
I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to overreact.
You're going to make yourself look like not a Bronco fan there. Troy Dye, number 45, is a guy that I liked, that I kept an eye on. Oregon. I know that people are fighting for roster spots, but I still think that the Vikings will play their second string.
Yeah, they're going to play their second string.
Their second string. This isn't going to be wow. They're going to play their third string, but Troy Dye is a guy to keep an eye on. He really neutralizes the middle of the field. I think he's a very good player as a rotational backup behind Eric Kendricks. Eric Kendricks is one of the best coverage linebackers in the National Football League. Special teams for the Vikings was very inconsistent. What I saw on film, they're kind of like the Bills. They do one good play and then they have a bad play. They're just very uneven as a unit, in my personal opinion.
What was that again? I'm sorry. For those, you probably could just play it again. But
Vikings special teams.
Special teams. Yeah. Yes.
And also, I don't know if you noticed this either. I know both sides weren't really able to establish the run, but I give the credit to that with that front seven and also the tackling units. I mean, when you look at the Vikings, they're a very sound tackling unit. I mean, they don't let a lot of things get past them. They're taught very well to keep everything in front of them.
That's where it starts. You got to tackle. If you don't tackle, hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah, and you saw that with the Bills, even with their starters, they had that rust tackling. Even with their second and third string, you saw the rust. And I know a lot of people are very critical of we shouldn't be playing our starters. I still, you had an opportunity to do that.
Well,
and I know you didn't want to get Russell Wilson killed in that, but I would have really.
I agree. If this team wasn't so bad,
but this team
should have been he should have been not to make an advertisement, but they haven't played together. They haven't played other than themselves. I mean, like you said, they've knocked that rust off. I think that's going to be a huge advantage for Seattle. Their starters. Yeah, I think that's going to be a huge, and it could keep the Broncos on the ropes.
And when you're talking about the Broncos and how this correlates to what we said last week about how this is going to manifest itself over the season. I don't really get the whole notion when it comes to the Denver Broncos organization when they're spewing out that we don't have anything to worry about with our first team. But again, that doesn't make any sense to me because I don't I see other quarterbacks that have had different teams, but they're playing their starters a series or two. They're always playing their, but again, it's more than just the quarterback position. It's more about, hey, you know what? We got to get into game shape. We got to get into the repetition of the game. We got to get used to tackling because tackling just doesn't come overnight. You have to continue to tackle, get that repetition under you, because you're going into a game in Seattle where this guy said it. Their player personnel is deeper than the Denver Broncos, and you have to look at yourself in the mirror, and you're going to a hostile environment. That we're not playing this game in Denver. This is Monday.
It's going to be like that environment is going to be very much like the Bills environment.
Yeah.
Now, am I saying that Seattle is the Bills? No, they're not the Bills. But the environment is going to be very, if not even more amped up.
Well, because they're going to want to stick it to Denver. I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams this year that are going to want it to stick it to Denver because they keep running their mouth. All Los Angeles and Russell Wilson.
All of you.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, you could go back to the preseason. The game that sticks out to me, and I don't know if you saw this game last weekend, that ass whooping that Denver took, that was the worst I've ever seen it in a preseason game this year. There hasn't been another team that's been beat to crap like that.
That I'm just saying that wasn't a preseason message. That wasn't a preseason thing. It just happened to happen in the preseason.
Well, that was a direct message from a stable organization to an unstable organization. Let's just get that through our heads there.
Yeah.
The game that just sticks out to my mind, and I said when you were out, on your vacation, you were watching that Seahawks and Pittsburgh game, and you're like the offensive line is completely reformed up there. I mean, you saw Charles Cross; he's been playing excellent. What's his name? Austin Beeline has been just a stable force there. I mean,
we don't have that. What did we see again? They don't want to talk about, but what did we see on the Dallas feed as far as our right and left tackle was concerned?
Getting pushed
right out of the way. Yep.
Yeah, got pushed into the quarterback, and okay. You don't think Shelby Harris is going to want to play with his head on, with his hair on fire? I mean, he's probably looking at Lloyd Cushion. I know he's Shelby Harris, but again, he's playing Lloyd Cushenberry. I mean, even you have to. I know, and we're still paying Shelby Harris too. So another dead cap money maker that he's.
I don't, like I said, I just don't understand why we didn't pay Schobert. I mean, why didn't we just give him a $50 million contract and send him out the door?
I mean, that would have been a typical Denver move. I mean,
you might as well. I mean, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. This game is just going to be roster battles. I know that. It's really nothing a lot for me to say. I mean, 49ers, you ready for week 3? I mean, even their backup defensive line. I'm like, ever heard of Javon Kinlaw? Anyone you've heard of them?
Oh, they don't want people.
Oh, God, dude, I'm telling you. Same with the Colts.
Whew. I mean, everywhere it's this building from the center. I mean, everywhere that's anybody who's anybody. That's what can I say? I mean,
there's nothing to say because
don't touch the hot stove. I know you'll touch it. They'll touch it anyway.
I cannot wait for this Monday night game. I cannot wait for it. I can't wait.
Well, that's what Seattle's saying.
No, I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, I've had Seattle fans come on my channel and say, "Can't wait for Monday night." So this is gonna be an interesting game. I don't think you think it's gonna be a blowout game. The Denver Broncos. Whew, you got another thing coming.
What's a blowout game?
Oh, that we're going to go in and destroy the Seahawks.
Oh, they think it's going to be a.
Denver.
No, it's.
Oh, no way.
No. Well, they said that they were going to beat Buffalo too. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they said we're going to beat the Colts too. And look at that player.
But since we're on the subject, what you have is, and I was saying this to you, is that the national media is going to figure it out week one. They're going to figure out, and then it's probably going to go throughout the season. The Seahawks aren't as bad as they are claiming they are. And Seahawks, I would call them a team that's muddling in the middle. It's a 8-9, 9-8 team too. I think if best case scenario for them would be a 9-8. Surprisingly, the Broncos are the same, a muddling in the middle organization. 8 and 9 if the stars all line up correctly. But after what we saw in Buffalo, I'm thinking it's looking more like 8, more like an 8. They're an 8 team. I know. Are they going to be able to? Well, I mean, the Texans. You get the Texans. Is that going to be a close game? Is the Jets going to surprise? You got a thumper in San Francisco. After watching the Colts, I always want to say Baltimore Colts. After watching the Colts play the Bills, they played them tough. So good luck there. Is on and on.
Raiders.
You lost twice last year. You think
1-5 in
was the yeah. You didn't lose because of the quarterback, that's for sure.
No, you didn't.
Kansas City's definitely licking their chops.
Oh, they want to play Denver and just stick it to them. I know that.
Absolutely, yeah. So, hey, I was going to ask. I wanted to get into this really quick with you, and something I was talking to Eddie about. Saints fan. We were talking about Russell Wilson's. Because he was like saying, man, if you guys sign Russell Wilson, you guys have, oh man, he said, to a 200 whatever million, he said, you guys are done. Stick a fork in you. You are you'll be a long time before you get out of the abyss.
The abyss.
The abyss. What would you think about this if they signed Russell to one of these big contracts, but gave him a trade clause so he could still go somewhere? Is that a possibility?
Yeah.
So you'd still get that 2-year,
I still think, and I'm still holding by, and I'm going to stand by it. I still think this is a 2-year thing, and Russell Wilson's gone. I honestly, I believe that's the case, because I see the Giants where he wanted to go. Even I know Philadelphia wasn't on his list, but my God, those teams are ready for bear. They're just building up, ready to put that quarterback around that situation there. Yeah. And trade clause or not, I'd still think he's leaving in 2 years. He could say all the sunshine and rainbows he wants, but there's no way from what I've seen the 6 years, this offensive line hasn't improved. You switched out a right tackle again for the 3rd year in a row for another right tackle. It's not going to change your fortunes on the offensive line. The only good offensive lineman that the Denver Broncos have currently on their roster is Quentin Miners. And then you have Dave Logan on
KO. And his buddy.
Just I didn't understand. Quentin Miners is just, you got to be kidding me. How can you question the level of Quentin Miners and what he brings to your offensive line? That's how I know that we're screwed. I was about to F-bomb it, but we're screwed. We're already going towards the Jets, the Lions, and the 90s Raiders. We're already there. I believe we're already there.
With a quarterback like Wilson on the top, leading it all. Yeah. So basically, I think it's going to be a ho-hummer for most fans. It'll be probably a ho-hummer.
Man, I remember when I was growing up, and Pat Bowlen and watching that stuff on TV, I remember fans would riot if we even had a losing season. We had more Super Bowl appearances than losing seasons. Now, since Pat Bowlen's been removed from the organization, this has been, like you said, worse than the AFL days. And I wasn't alive for that. But my God, if it's worse than the AFL days, oh my God, we are in for.
We're on par for that with that. Yeah, yeah. That's the legacy they were talking about, I guess. Right before the Bills game.
How can you not get mad at it? How can you not get mad at that?
That's to me, that's the weirdo stuff. To me.
Oh yeah, that's the weirdo stuff.
Yeah, that's the weirdo stuff to me. Not getting mad. You didn't see it. You didn't hear it. You won't say nothing to no one. Never tell a soul. What you know is the truth.
Well, you were talking about the Vikings offensive line, about how they're very shaky. I don't care because
wait a minute. Who was playing them? Was the Broncos playing them?
It was San Francisco. That's exactly. You just took the words right out of my mouth.
Who played the Buffalo Bills before the Broncos?
Colts.
The Colts played yes. The Broncos made them look probably unstoppable. I saw flaws in the Bills with the Colts. Okay? It had nothing to do with not being prepared. I'll give Hackett that. They didn't have a lot of penalties. It wasn't about playing soft in practice. It had nothing to do with that. It's just they don't have the player personnel. It's a simple equation. It's a simple equation.
We've been saying that for 6 years though. And then you were talking about, you know what, the one thing that you've said over the past few weeks that have really stuck in my mind, and I can't get it out of my mind, is how the refs are going to help the Broncos this year. I just have that feeling.
They have to.
Exactly. Yep.
And on top of that, other teams helping the Broncos with dumb penalties.
Well, you saw the Bills game where there were some questionable calls. You saw
it wasn't just that. Bailey was tackling people.
Oh, I know.
Wasn't getting called for it.
I know. And Garrett Bowles, he's going to get away with a lot of holding calls. He's going to be able to clothesline people. And then your answer
it's going to build up. It's going to really piss off a lot of teams. It's just another thing that's going to really send this thing over the top.
And that's the organization we've formed into under this Elway regime.
Well, it's not just. I mean, let's face it. The NFL is just to blame for it too, because they don't want dynasties anymore. Really, it's all promotion. It's all quarterback promotion, because the major leagues, it's always it's Boston, it's New York, it's Los Angeles. In the NFL, it's like, no, we're not going to market that way. That's stupid. We're going to market with the princess quarterback. Like it's Ariel, it's Belle, it's this princess, it's that princess versus princess. It's like a Disney product.
And that's.
This is what I was explaining to Bills fans. You have to be a team that knows where you are now in the NFL. You have to build from within, from the inside out. You have to build. You have to be a development team. A team. John Elway so far in the past that they have to. I don't know. They'll have to get in a starship and go into warp speed just to catch up with the rest of the NFL.
He's so behind.
It's so behind you. It's not about grabbing quarterbacks. You see Tampa do it. You saw Denver when they did, but they were ready at that time. You can't think you were ready just because your ego says, well, I built this team. Well, you did a bad job. So you're not ready. Now you got this guy. The only thing I could say, if you sign him to a $250 million contract, you better give him a trade clause. You better be able to dump him for his own sake, because this team isn't going to take him anywhere. And this team has got to, move on. It's got to move on from that what's in the front office. It's just bound to happen. To me, it's a mathematic problem. It's just, how long is it going to take? We could be seeing a Jets situation a Bill fan came on and said, was 20 years for them. I think it was maybe even a little longer than 20. Maybe 30 years.
Yeah, we're not in the same place or level as we were under Pat Bowlen. And I'm not saying, like, for instance, like, I'm not saying that. I'm trying to word this in a way.
You'll be changing my diapers by
Yeah.
the time they're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. I don't, Rob Walton and this talking head of ownership, they just worry.
I don't see it either. I know. I don't see it either.
I'm trying to think about it, and I can't think about it. If we were going to get a single owner, I want you, like you said, Beth Bowen Wallace. You have to sit there and say, you know what? You don't have to be just like your dad, or you don't have to be just like Pat Bowlen, but you could still apply those same principles that he used to build this organization up to be one of the destination places in the National Football League. I'm telling you, these players nowadays are going to the Bills, Tampa Bay, Patriots, Chargers.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm not even sure I'm not even sure again if they even know why they're doing that. I mean, they see the clock, but I don't think they really get the gearing and the spring and all the. You know what I'm saying?
I completely agree with you on that. I agree with you on that part. But I was just saying, if we had single ownership,
yeah,
when you sent me that video of Pat Bowlen, and then I send you video of this new guy. It's just
night and day. Yeah, they're two separate galaxies. Too. What did I tell you? I said Denver Bronco. Oh, the corporate. Was it the corporation for? Yeah, I said the corporation formerly known as the Denver Broncos. I told you the corporation formerly known as the Denver Broncos. That's what
the NFL is trying to go to these days. Now they're trying to go towards that corporate-minded crap.
Yeah, I think the family-run ones are going to always be the better. Are going to be the better ran ones.
Rooney's, Ravens, Chiefs. I mean, those are going to be the ones that are going to be, Belichick or not Crafts in New England. Those are the type of teams that are going to be able to maintain their longevity, unlike the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are now stuck in purgatory, and we're now with the Jets. The Lions are above us. I love what the Lions are doing. They're doing it right.
No, the average clock watcher doesn't see that yet. You will see that, but the average clock watcher has they just won one game or two.
You guys have to understand they're building it's taking time they're building it the right way. They're doing it right.
What's scary is that their backups to the backups to the backups. The Broncos had their hands full for the whole first half.
Even second half.
They got away from the lines and say, but yes, I mean.
I've watched a lot of preseason games, and I know people, it's just preseason. But in terms of backup play, I've never seen a butt whooping like that before. I don't
have much to say really too good about the starters either. I really don't.
For the Broncos?
For the Broncos.
Okay. Well, the Broncos starters didn't play, so I was talking about backup per backup units.
They got a player here, they got a player there, but I mean.
Yeah. Wow. This team is in a long season. That's all I got to say.
I don't think there's any other way around it. Any other way around it.
How can you go into a season and tell yourself and convince yourself that
listen, you're gonna like this. Eddie asked me. He said, "Oh, yeah, I'm on this fantasy thing. I do it with my son. We just do it for fun because I just do it with my son." He said, "I have as a backup Jerry Jeudy," and he said, what? I said, "I got a guy I'll tell you about Jerry Jeudy." But I said, "Why'd you take Jerry Jeudy?" He goes, "Oh, there's all this hype around him." And there you go. He doesn't have the yards, but he's got the hype.
He's got the hype. He's got the Madden 23 ranking.
This whole thing's falling apart here. I've got to go and I get Mom wants me to empty out the trash. I'll do it in a minute, Mom.
I'll meet you up there. I'll do the dishes while you take out the trash.
Okay. You know, I was going to tell everybody how we met. Chop Liver. I'm your host, Chop Liver, and I was driving down a residential area, and driving, and then the police just. It was the ATF and the drug enforcement guys, the DEA. They all just came, and I couldn't go anywhere, and I'm sitting.
Oh, don't give me that much credit, please.
Well, hold on. We'll get to your part in a minute. So I'm stuck in this with this raids going on in this house over here, and I look over. I'm in the car, just like what? And I look over, and this guy falls out of a window onto the top of a patio, the patio roof. And I'm like looking at him. He's sitting there putting his clothes on. He falls off. And then there's this naked, topless lady throwing clothes at him. It's this guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy. I'm happy you had to view me in that light. I'm really impressed by that knowledge. I was really impressed to meet you while you were getting detained by these cops and by my DARPA dog. I was really, he just ran after you and just couldn't.
This is the thing. I'm surprised nobody has put this together yet. Is that I'm surprised they hadn't called us Walt and Jesse. I just, I was always expecting that. So I just thought I'd make that story up there. Yeah, he was, he fell out of the window and was putting clothes. That's how Walter White and Jesse found each other.
Do people not realize I've said it before? I used to be in the Kool-Aid drink business.
Yeah.
Oh, get in the call. Go upstairs. Go upstairs now. Yeah, we get paid for this.
How did
just already left.
All right. I'll be there. Take care.
All right.
All right, bye. All right, my daughter's softball is done, and I'm going to go pick her up.
Okay.
I'll publish this on Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.